What happens when an undercover owner hears one of his employees quietly crying in the cold, only to uncover a heartbreaking truth that changes everything? The icy wind cut through the silence, but it was the faint sound of someone quietly sobbing in the cold that made Ethan's steps falter. The bitter wind stung Ethan's face as he stood outside the lobby of Summit Ridge Resort, one of his family's oldest businesses. The ski resort was once a thriving destination, known for its charm and exceptional staff. But recently, guest complaints had surged. Poor service, cold attitudes, and an overall decline in hospitality. Ethan knew something was wrong. Instead of sending managers to investigate, he chose to visit undercover, blending in as a guest. Tonight, he was just another visitor in a worn winter jacket and faded boots. No hint that he was the owner of the very resort he now doubted. Ethan walked into the lobby, where a tired-looking front desk clerk barely glanced up from his phone. "Checking. In?" the clerk asked flatly. "Yeah," Ethan replied. Carter." The clerk barely made eye contact as he handed over a room key. "Room 214, he muttered. "End of the hall. Elevator's broken, so stairs." "Thanks," Ethan said dryly. As he climbed the creaking wooden staircase, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that something felt off. The warmth that once defined Summit Ridge was missing. Staff avoided eye contact, guests shuffled quietly, and the faint scent of mildew lingered in the air. Later that night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He stood by the window of his room, staring out at the dark slopes. Snowflakes drifted under the glow of a single street lamp. Then he heard it, faint, muffled crying. Ethan pressed his ear to the cold glass. The sound was coming from outside, curious and concerned. He grabbed his coat and stepped out, into the freezing night. Following the sound, Ethan walked toward the back of the lodge, where the employee cabins sat. The sobbing grew louder. Near the maintenance shed, he spotted a figure. Someone sitting on the icy ground, shoulders shaking. It was Maya, a housekeeper he recognized from past visits. She wore a thin jacket, her breath curling in the frozen air. Her face was buried in her hands. "Maya," Ethan said gently. She startled, wiping her eyes quickly. "Oh, I'm fine," she stammered, her voice breaking. "You're sitting in the snow," Ethan said softly. "That doesn't seem fine." Maya forced a weak smile. "I just needed some air. I'm heading back inside." "Wait," Ethan said. "Please, let me help." Maya shook her head, but her voice cracked. "You can't." With some coaxing, Maya finally spoke. Her voice trembled as she explained how things had changed since the resort's new manager, Gavin, had taken over. Staff were overworked, guests treated like numbers, and employees like her were barely getting by. Worse still, Maya's paycheck had been adjusted multiple times without warning. Her hours cut, yet her workload increased. "I can't pay my rent," Maya admitted, wiping her eyes. "I've been sleeping in the staff lounge when no one's around. If they find out, I'll lose this job too." Ethan's chest tightened. This wasn't just bad management, this was exploitation. "Maya," Ethan said firmly, "I promise you, things are going to change." "How?" she asked, her voice hollow. "No one cares." "I do," Ethan said, his voice steady. "I care." The next morning, Ethan watched Gavin bark orders at employees, ignoring their concerns and brushing off customer complaints. Maya quietly scrubbed a counter nearby, her eyes downcast. Ethan decided it was time to act. "Excuse me," Ethan said, stepping toward Gavin. "Got a second?" "Busy," Gavin grunted without looking up. "Come back later." "I don't think so," Ethan said firmly. "We're talking now." Gavin turned sharply, eyes narrowing. "And you are?" Ethan pulled a business card from his pocket and set it on the counter. "Ethan Carter, owner." Gavin's face drained of colour. I didn't know." "You didn't bother to know," Ethan interrupted. "But now you're going to listen." In a tense private meeting, Ethan laid out everything Maya had shared: the unfair wages, the mistreatment of staff, and the toxic culture that Gavin had created. "You've got one chance to explain," Ethan said coldly. "Because right now I have. No reason to believe you deserve to stay." Gavin stammered excuses, blaming budget constraints and lazy employees. But Ethan wasn't buying it. "Here's what's going to happen," Ethan said firmly. "I'm staying here for the next few days, and if I see one more employee mistreated, you're done." Gavin's smugness vanished. "Yes, sir," he muttered, voice tight. That evening, Ethan found Maya cleaning the lodge's lounge. "Hey," Ethan said softly. "I wanted you to know, I'm working on fixing this." Maya's smile was faint but real. "I hope so." As Ethan returned to his room, he knew fixing Summit Ridge wouldn't be easy. But one thing was clear: Maya's quiet sobs in the cold had been a wake-up call. And now, he wasn't going to stop until her voice, and every employee's voice, was heard. The morning after Ethan's tense confrontation with Gavin, the air at Summit Ridge Resort felt heavy. Employees moved with hesitation, eyes downcast, and guests quietly voiced their frustrations. Ethan knew the resort's problems ran deeper than just poor management. The entire atmosphere had turned cold. Determined to fix things, Ethan set out to observe the staff firsthand. Ethan spent the morning quietly watching Gavin operate. The manager barked orders, scolded employees openly, and cut corners wherever possible. When a guest complained that their room heater wasn't working, Gavin muttered, "Tell them to layer up," rather than sending maintenance. Later, Ethan overheard Gavin snapping at Maya. "I don't care if you've already cleaned that hall," Gavin growled. "Do it again, and make sure you're faster this time." Maya kept her head down, silently grabbing her cleaning supplies and heading down the corridor. Ethan clenched his fists. This has to stop. That evening, Ethan approached Maya in the staff lounge. She sat quietly in the corner, her face drawn, with exhaustion. "Hey," Ethan said, sitting across from her. "I know what's been going on, and I'm going to fix it." Maya shook her head. "It's not that simple," she whispered. "People need these jobs, even if it means putting up with Gavin. No one wants to risk being fired." "What if I can guarantee Gavin doesn't have that power anymore?" Ethan asked. "You'd have to see how bad it really is," Maya said. "Not just with me, with everyone." Ethan nodded. "Then let's show them." The next morning, Ethan went to the resort's dining area, where Gavin often berated staff away from guest view. Sure enough, Gavin's voice carried across the room as he scolded Marcus, a young waiter. "If you mess up another order," Gavin barked, "don't bother showing up tomorrow." Ethan calmly walked over. "That's enough," he said firmly. "Oh, it's you," Gavin sneered. "I told you, I've got this place under control." "No," Ethan shot back. "You've been intimidating your staff, cutting their hours and humiliating them in front of guests. That's not control, that's abuse." "I'm just doing what it takes to keep this place profitable," Gavin argued. "They're lucky I haven't let more of them go." "Well, you're about to join them," Ethan said coldly. "You're fired, effective immediately." Gavin's face twisted with rage. "You can't just—" "I can," Ethan interrupted. "And I just did." Gavin stormed out, slamming the door behind him. The dining hall erupted in murmurs, half in disbelief, half in relief. Maya's face showed a rare smile. "That's a start," Ethan said to her quietly. "But now we fix what's broken." Over the next few days, Ethan worked shoulder to shoulder with his staff. He helped Maya with room cleaning, spent time with the kitchen crew prepping meals, and joined the maintenance team repairing old heating systems. Employees, once fearful, began to open up. "It's like you actually care," Marcus said one afternoon, as they shoveled snow from the walkways. "I do," Ethan replied, "and I should have been here sooner." Despite her improved spirits, Maya remained hesitant. One evening, Ethan found her sitting alone in the break room, staring at a framed photo. a picture of her parents standing proudly in front of Summit Ridge's entrance years earlier. "They worked here too?" Ethan asked, sitting beside her. "Yeah," Maya said quietly. "My mum used to run housekeeping, and my dad did repairs." Her voice faltered. "This place meant a lot to them. To me too. That's why I stayed, even when things got bad. I didn't want to let it fall apart." "You've done more for this place than anyone," Ethan said sincerely. "And I want you to keep doing that, as our new housekeeping supervisor." Maya's eyes widened. You mean that?" "Absolutely," Ethan smiled. "You've earned it." For the first time in weeks, Maya's tired face softened into genuine hope. With Maya in her new role, Ethan announced new policies to rebuild Summit Ridge's reputation. Staff wages were raised to ensure employees were treated fairly. A new employee assistance program was introduced, offering financial support to those in need. Guest satisfaction protocols were revamped to prioritize warmth and hospitality, the values Summit Ridge was once known for. But most importantly, Ethan made it clear to his staff: "If you ever feel unheard or mistreated again, my door is always open." A week later, Ethan called Maya into his office. On the desk sat a small box wrapped in silver paper. "I wanted to thank you," Ethan said, "for caring enough to stick around when things were hard." Maya opened the box, revealing a delicate snowflake-shaped pendant. "My mom had one like this," Maya whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "I know," Ethan said. "I found a photo of her wearing it in the resort's archives. It felt right." Maya blinked away tears. "Thank you for everything." "No," Ethan said softly. "Thank you." As Maya left, Ethan gazed out the window, snow falling gently over the slopes. For the first time in a long while, Summit Ridge felt warm again. The storm that had shaken Summit Ridge Resort was slowly starting to clear. With Gavin gone and Maya promoted to housekeeping supervisor, the staff felt hopeful again. But there was still plenty of work to be done. Ethan knew that simply firing Gavin wasn't enough. The resort's reputation had been damaged, and guests were still uneasy. Employees needed to believe things would truly change, and Ethan had to prove it. "People still don't trust that things are better," Maya admitted to Ethan one afternoon. "Some are worried you'll leave. That everything will just go back to how it was." Ethan nodded thoughtfully. "Then I'll show them I'm serious." Over the next few days, Ethan worked alongside his employees. He grabbed a mop and cleaned floors with Maya, helped the kitchen staff prepare breakfast, and even carried firewood to guest cabins. "You're the owner," Carlos laughed one morning as Ethan wiped down tables. "Shouldn't you be in some big office?" "Maybe," Ethan grinned. "But real leadership isn't about sitting behind a desk. It's about showing people you've got their back." Word spread quickly, and the staff's doubts started to fade. Employees who once stayed quiet now began offering ideas. Maya introduced new cleaning checklists to keep things organized, while Carlos suggested offering free hot cocoa to guests stuck indoors during storms. Bit by bit, the resort's warmth started to return. Despite her growing confidence, Maya still felt pressure in her new role. One morning, she overheard two housekeepers whispering in the storage room. "Why does she get to be supervisor?" one muttered. "She's no better than us." "Yeah," the other agreed. "She only got that job because the boss felt sorry for her." Maya froze, her stomach twisting. For a moment, she considered walking away. But then she remembered Ethan's words. "You've earned this." Instead of retreating, Maya stepped inside. "Hey," she said firmly. "If you've got concerns, let's talk. But I'm here to make things better. For all of us." The two employees exchanged a glance, surprised by Maya's confidence. "Look," Maya continued, "I know how hard things have been, but if you give me a chance, I'll prove that I'm here to help, not to boss you around." After a tense pause, one of the employees shrugged. "Guess we'll see." It wasn't exactly acceptance, but Maya knew it was a start. Just as things seemed to stabilize, trouble struck. A powerful snowstorm rolled in late one evening, trapping guests at the resort. Roads were blocked, and some families were stranded without warm clothing or proper supplies. Panicked guests crowded the front desk. "The pipes in our room froze!" one man shouted. "We need blankets!" "My kids are freezing," another woman cried. "We're working on it," the desk clerk stammered, overwhelmed. Without hesitation, Maya took charge. "I'll handle the rooms," she told Ethan. "You check the maintenance systems." Maya and her team hurried from room to room, delivering extra blankets, space heaters, and warm drinks. "I'm sorry about this," Maya told each guest. "We're doing everything we can." Instead of frustration, Maya was met with gratitude. "Thank you," one mother said softly. "We know you're trying." Meanwhile, Ethan and Carlos worked in the basement, repairing the failing water pipes. "This place is a mess," Carlos muttered, as water dripped from the ceiling. "Yeah," Ethan replied, tightening a valve. "But it's our mess, and we're going to fix it." By the next morning, the storm had passed, and so had the crisis. Guests gathered in the lounge, sipping cocoa, as staff bustled around, ensuring everyone was warm and comfortable. "You know," Carlos said with a grin, "this place finally feels normal again." "No," Ethan replied, glancing proudly at his staff. "It feels better than normal." That evening, Ethan gathered the staff for a special meeting in the lodge's dining hall. Employees filled the room, their expressions hopeful yet uncertain. "I wanted to say thank you," Ethan began. "I know things have been hard, but you all stepped up when it mattered most. You showed me what this place is really about: teamwork, kindness, and heart." He turned to Maya. "And Maya, you've proven that leadership isn't about power, it's about courage and compassion." Ethan pulled a small box from his pocket and handed it to her. Inside was a custom-made Summit Ridge Resort name badge that read, "Maya Lopez, Head of Housekeeping." "You've more than earned it," Ethan said softly. Maya blinked back tears as the staff erupted into applause. For the first time in a long while, she felt proud, not just of her job, but of herself. In the following weeks, Summit Ridge transformed. Employees smiled genuinely, guests posted glowing reviews online, and the once cold lodge felt warm again. Not just from the fires in the hearth, but from the kindness that now filled the air. Late, one evening, Ethan stood on the snowy balcony, watching the lights flicker from the cabins below. Maya stepped beside him. "You know," Maya said, "I really thought about leaving, back when things were bad." "I'm glad you stayed," Ethan replied. "This place wouldn't have survived without you." Maya smiled. "We're a good team." "We are," Ethan agreed. "And together, we're just getting started." The winds had quieted, and the snow that once choked the roads now sparkled across Summit Ridge Resort like a fresh canvas. But while the storm had passed, Ethan knew his work wasn't finished. The resort's recovery needed more than fixed pipes and warm blankets. It needed to rebuild trust. Both guests and employees needed to believe that Summit Ridge could once again be a place they felt proud to visit and call home. "We need to give people a reason to come back," Ethan told Maya and Carlos one afternoon in his office. "Something that shows them Summit Ridge is better than ever." "Like a promotion?" Carlos suggested. "Bigger," Ethan said. "I'm thinking a winter celebration weekend. Live music, discounts for locals, and free lessons for first-time skiers." Maya's eyes lit up. "That sounds amazing. But do you think people will show up after everything that's happened?" "They'll come," Ethan said confidently. "We just have to make sure it's worth it." Over the next week, Ethan worked closely with his employees to prepare for the event. Maya organized her team to deep clean guest rooms and decorate the lodge with fresh garlands, twinkling lights, and festive banners. Carlos designed a warm welcome station, where guests would be greeted with complimentary hot chocolate and pastries. "We're going to make this place shine," Carlos grinned. Maya smiled. "No," she corrected. We're going to make it feel like home. The day of the event arrived, and Summit Ridge buzzed with excitement. Families filled the dining hall, children bundled in bright snowsuits dashed through the courtyard, and the distant sound of laughter echoed from the ski slopes. Maya stood by the entrance, nervously scanning the crowd. I just hope they're enjoying it, she muttered. See for yourself, Ethan said, pointing to a family taking a photo in front of a glowing fire pit. Nearby, a pair of teens high-fived their instructor after successfully skiing down the beginner slope. This place hasn't felt this good in years, Maya whispered. Because of you, Ethan said. This place survived because you believed in it. Later that afternoon, as Maya organized towels in the lobby, the front door opened and in walked Linda, the woman Ethan had first helped weeks ago. She was dressed warmly, her son clinging to her side. I wasn't sure you'd come, Maya said, rushing over. I almost didn't, Linda admitted. But I figured, if anyone deserved a second chance, it's this place. I'm glad you did, Maya said warmly. Let me get you both some cocoa. Actually, Linda said with a smile, I'd love that. That evening, Ethan called his staff together in the main lodge. Employees gathered, some still unsure what to expect. I want to thank every one of you, Ethan began. You believed in this place when it was hard to. And that's what brought it back to life. He paused, turning toward Maya. But one person in particular showed more strength and heart than anyone. Maya, you've proven that true leadership isn't about titles. It's about never giving up on the people who need you. The crowd clapped as Ethan stepped forward, presenting Maya with a framed plaque that read, Maya Lopez, Heart of Summit Ridge. Maya's hands trembled as she accepted it. I don't know what to say. You already said enough, Ethan said with a smile. You showed us what this place is supposed to be. A few days later, as Ethan packed his bag to head home, Maya caught him at the door. Leaving already? She asked. You don't need me here anymore, Ethan smiled. You've got this. Still, Maya said softly, you'll always have a place here. I know, Ethan replied, glancing back at the lodge, and I know you'll take care of it. As Ethan climbed into his car, he glanced back one final time. The warm glow of the resort's windows flickering in the distance, laughter ringing from the courtyard. Summit Ridge wasn't just a business anymore. It was family. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change everything.